Good morning. Just wanted to quick get this in because I thought it was kind of cool. Good morning. In my reading today, I was kind of confused why I was reading Leviticus 13 to begin my study. And again, I just did that random. And it was about mildew. So there's parts of the Bible that you say are skin diseases was the other part of it. I think, why, God? And I understand that God was giving them regulations to protect them. That made a lot of sense. It's always good, but you just kind of go, this will be interesting if you connect this to something today, God. And I think I found a connection. I also was reading in the book of Timothy. That's part of my Read the Bible in a Year reading. And it talked about, I'm trying to think if this relates, watching our life and watching our doctrine. So that was good. But I think actually the real connection was with Acts 28 again. I'm almost done with the book of Acts, and then I'll go to John. But it talked about Paul in his last words to the people when he was in Rome, and he was talking to the Jews there, and he was kind of convicting them and letting them know that even though I'm talking to you and I'm giving you everything I got from the word that would make complete sense why Jesus, the promised one, and all the prophecies that they knew would be pointing to Jesus, they still weren't hearing. And so the commentator Matthew Henry was talking about how sometimes we don't see because we don't want to see, and which seems kind of silly, because the stuff that God wants to show us are great things of his everlasting peace, the glory of God, the amiableness of Christ, amiableness, being loving and kind, the deformity of sin, the beauty of holiness, the vanity of the world. And so people may not want to see that, because in a way he kind of puts it, in love with their disease. And so they want to plunge themselves into ignorance and sin more freely. And so one of the things I had written at the top about mildew and skin diseases, it talks about in Leviticus 13, just you have to get rid of it. Like, you have to take it out of the town. You have to burn it. If you know that it's going to be contagious, if you know that it's going to cause more problems. And so it's kind of that way with our sin, and we pray for the courage and the strength to burn it, to just destroy. And so I had written, if something is destructive, destroy it. I liked that. And so I think it's the same way in our lives. If we know that something is destructive, we pray, even if we can't destroy it, that God destroys it, gets rid of it. And the first sign of sickness, then we want to find the healing. And so in Leviticus, is kind of related to that, or I think thought about how the physical stuff of like the mildew on wood or leather is kind of can be a picture of when things come in our life that are going to be harmful or hurtful to us. And I also liked the phrase about, and this was from the devotion, about salt. It talks about just salt without measure kind of idea. But in that devotion, it had the idea that some things are given by God without measure, just abundantly. Like, it's not held back, it's not stingy, and that really is God's grace and love and blessings. And the other things are measured. So it says that the gall and the vinegar are measured, but the grace is given without measure. And this is sometimes in the stuff, having abundantly may not actually be positive. Like, more wealth could mean more care, more distraction, but more grace means always more joy. The more God flows his love to us and forgiveness and unconditional acceptance, you can't have too much of that. It's just going to be more joy. Like I said, there's and it talks about the fruits of the Spirit, or there's no law against things of this kind. I believe that's in a list of positive things. I'm not sure if it's the fruits of the Spirit, but it will say there's no law about things like this kind. There's nothing that can go wrong with that. And then finally, that idea of abundance. We need much. And the more that we can understand and believe and not hide from the fact that we're needy from God for forgiveness, for help, for everything, for safety, for peace, for joy, for all that stuff, we're so needy. We need much, but in order to ask for much, we need to know first we need it. And then the second step is to seek it, to pray for it, to, like I said, take that bold step, I guess, to get rid of anything that's not promoting growth, but even to extreme, that is destructive, like mildew, that is going to keep growing and spreading, or a skin disease. Praying for the courage to destroy that. I guess that's kind of the idea, even though Jesus didn't mean it literally necessarily, but it said if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. That's pretty serious. But if there's something even that big of a part of your life that's destructive, destroy. And so that's really deep today, but I pray that we realize we need much, and courage to know that, wisdom to know that. We can ask for much of God to give that to us, and we can expect that He will give us what we need to follow Him, to live life His way. Okay, I gotta help someone here this morning. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.